At the Educate for Life community, we believe we have everything we need to offer an alternative and personalized educational paradigm for each human being that is interested in creating their own path in life. To be available to millions of people at low cost, we need the internet. Someone already spent billions of dollars building it, so we don't need to do that. These people need to meet somewhere in person too. Somebody already spent millions of dollars building libraries, creative labs, and community centers, so we don't have to do that. Others spent millions of dollars building great online collaboration tools, so we don't have to do that either. We just built the community where these things come together in a new combined way. So we can now offer a complete alternative to the formal education system for those who cannot thrive in schools and institutions. It is an alternative that is available also for all educational institutions who are looking for ways to prepare their students for a future that require new skills, competences and mindset to thrive and be an active part of society. But we want to add you and your empowering activities to inspire and support each of us in our personal learning journey. Help us share your key messages by sending us a video that introduces your initiatives in just the way you want it to be shared. Join Educate for Life today to play a role in the lives of students and independent learners worldwide on their unique journeys together for positive impact in our world and for thriving individuals.
The two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. Mark Twain. Hey everybody, I'm Lars Lind, the founder of Educate for Life, a global virtual community of practice that helps active global citizens. And one of my taglines, if you like, or slogans, is human development in a tech world. Now, this is really not a purpose, it's really not purposeful, but it's what I do, and I'm very passionate about it. Human development in a tech world. But the way I'd rather like to introduce myself is by using my personal massive transformative purpose, which is resourcefulness for breakthroughs in everyone. Let me just tell you the story about how that came up. Because this workshop is for you to create your own personal massive transformative purpose. But allow me to first kick us off with my story about how my massive transformative purpose came to life. Now, the term massive transformative purpose was coined in the book Exponential Organizations by a group of authors led by lead author Salim Ismail. Salim Ismail studied some of the most impactful, fast-scaling organizations that we know on the planet. Most of these, if not all, are what we categorize as tech companies. Now, Salim was the founding managing director of Singularity University, where he met all these leading tech businesses, the leadership team that came over for a boost of future, a boost of technology, and a mind-opening experience. Now, what he saw in all these organizations was they had 11 attributes, they have 11 attributes in common, and the massive transformative purpose is one of them and the most important one. So for organizations, there's a massive transformative purpose, and I'll give you some examples in a moment. This is key to making positive impact on the planet and to uniting not only your own organization around a purposeful direction, but also to attract the world around you towards your massive transformative purpose. So this is a way to connect your organization to the outer world. But this can also be done at a personal level, and that's what I call a personal massive transformative purpose. And mine is that I build exponential organizations for the benefit of humanity. Or rather, it used to be. Even a massive transformative purpose can evolve and can change over time. But I've been part of transforming very large organizations and government entities and other types of organizations now for 8-9 years as part of the organization OpenEXO. And so I'm bringing the concepts of exponential organizations into organizations. And back in 2016, one such organization is DIWA in Dubai. It's a government agency. And I was asked to introduce myself as one of the coaches on the transformation team. And I realized in that moment that I was there to introduce these exponential attributes to a new client. And I really didn't have my own personal massive transformative purpose. So right there on the spot, I made it up. I made one up, that I build exponential organizations for the benefit of humanity. And when I say I made it up, I don't think really in a bad sense that I made it up. It really resonates with me. That's what I do. I help organizations to transform from being a linear, scarcity-oriented organization into an abundance and exponential-oriented organization, right? And also create and build new organizations that leverage the same exponential attributes. And all of this has to benefit humanity. Otherwise, I'm not on board with it. And I'm sure neither are you. Okay? So this is the story of my first massive transformative purpose as a person. Now, today, my personal massive transformative purpose, which is also in short called the MTP or the personal MTP. Today, my MTP is resourcefulness for breakthroughs in everyone. As part of all these transformation projects that I've been doing in this past about a decade now, when we begin to work with an organization that seems constrained by their resources, the key really to unlock the resourcefulness is in the mind. It's a mindset change that needs to take place because there's plenty of resources in the world. There's plenty of potential customers. There's plenty of potential R&D engineers or salespeople or CFOs or whatever capacities and skills and competences you need to succeed with your business strategy. The key here is to tap into your resourcefulness first, and then you will start to look at resources very differently. And the resourcefulness as a mindset is what leads to breakthroughs. And when everybody on the planet is connected to resourcefulness to help them get their own breakthroughs alone and in collaboration with colleagues and fellow students and families, then I have accomplished my personal MTP. So I'm here to help everybody tap into their resourcefulness for breakthroughs, and this is for you too. That's why I'm here today, to help you by creating your own personal massive transformative purpose. You will be in the fast lane to connect to your resourcefulness for breakthroughs and help others do the same. When I look back, I can clearly see a pattern in different startups I've been founding and or co-founding, and all the other organizations that I've been part of that are really about human development, human training, education, self-education, learning and development, upskilling, reskilling, you name it. There's a clear pattern when I look back, now that I have found a personal massive transformative purpose that resonates deeply with me. I know what my next steps will be because of my MTP as well. I'm here to help transfer these benefits to you so you can accomplish the same breakthroughs or better, and you can see a pattern that leads to your fulfillment and your satisfaction and your happiness and the contributions that you want to make to society and to community. Now, the story hasn't finished yet about my personal MTP. About a year or two after the transformation project that I just mentioned in Dubai, I did a project with Visa in Brazil, actually several projects, and got to know a lot of fantastic people in Brazil. And obviously, I introduced myself with my personal massive transformative purpose that at the time was that I build exponential organizations for the benefit of humanity. Now, several years later, I came back to Sao Paulo in Brazil, had a lunch with somebody who's not with Visa, but another client, had lunch with him, and he said, "Oh, Lars, it's great to see you back here in Brazil. I have something I need to admit to you," he said. And he almost felt bad about it. I'm like, what can possibly be so bad? And he said, "Lars, at some point I had to borrow your MTP because he was with one of his clients, and he had introduced the concept, the attribute of the massive transformative purpose to his client, who really found it really interesting and wanted to know more. And this client asked my client, so what's your own personal MTP?" And he realized in that moment he didn't have one. He had the same realization I had in Dubai a couple of years earlier, that he needed to have one. Immediately, the MTP I had used when I was working with his company, that resonated deeply with him too. So he introduced his own personal MTP to his client as I build exponential organizations for the benefit of humanity. Isn't that awesome? And I said, don't feel bad about that. That's awesome. If you feel connected to that MTP, it's yours as much as it's mine. And that's another point of a massive transformative purpose, is it connects people around a purpose. And not only that, but it can do it at a massive scale, right? Across borders, across industries, across cultures. And it has a transformative impact if we walk the talk. So I was back to meeting again in that lunch in Sao Paulo, an old MTP of mine. And I don't think I actually introduced my my real new MTP at the time. But this is to say that if you have an MTP that resonates with others, they will remember you for that amongst many other good things, I'm sure. This will stick with them. This is a short, compelling, audacious statement. So the point here is this is my magnet that attracts others that are equally interested in benefiting humanity and doing it through the way we build organizations. All right, that was my story and my personal MTP. I want you to meet Alma Deutscher, born in 2005, obviously much younger than me, from a very early age, in early childhood. She became a composer, violinist, pianist, and is a very successful musician and composer. Now, I want you to look her up. Alma was on Ellen DeGeneres, the talk show.
This is your first time in
I am
America,
not
right?
going to play it here. I'm afraid YouTube might label this in a wrong way, right? The intention is good here, but look up Alma Deutscher on Ellen yourself. What you're going to experience is a very young person who's very passionate and who's living her purpose. What I want you to do when you watch Alma on YouTube, whenever you have a moment, is to observe how do you radiate passion and happiness and commitment and dedication and perseverance and grit and all that when you are on a purpose-driven mission. She is an amazing example of that. And I'm sure once you watch the show, you will agree with me that you want to be like Alma too. And so do I. So that's for you to look at when you have a moment. Alma, you, me, our kids, the whole planetary species really is looking at increasing life cycles. Longevity is a really big thing. Medical research for longevity, medical treatments, medicine, gene editing, and many other types of initiatives are becoming very advanced, very sophisticated, which is what is extending our average statistical lifetime. Our youngest generation on the planet right now will statistically definitely live to above 100, and many probably 110, if not more. I'm not going deeper into longevity, but rest assured that people, human beings in the future, thanks to technology, science, and different solutions for longevity, will definitely be able to live much longer than humans have ever been able to in the past. So that's a good thing when we're happy about our lives, when we live a purposeful life. But you and I both know that not every day is like that. Some days are like this, right? And that's part of life. As long as not every day is like this, I think we'll be okay. But once in a while, some days will be a disaster. It will be terrible. It will be long, exhausting. But make sure, in general, that your quality of life is built by having more happy days, fulfilled and purpose-driven days than bad days. I guess that's a way to measure success in life. And there are ways to help yourself have more of these purpose driven days, purposeful days, than the really bad ones. Now, there is, and science shows this clearly, there is a correlation between living a purposeful life and the human ability and need to contribute. As the first point I want to make, we all have a need, really, most of us have a need to contribute to something bigger than ourselves, to be connected, be part of something bigger than ourselves. Once we feel that we contribute in a meaningful way to something bigger than ourselves, this is a big contributor to feeling that we are living a purposeful life. Resilience to stress is a great skill to have, and it gets only better when you're living a purposeful life. You get better at handling challenging situations, and who's not facing challenging situations from time to time? Who's not experiencing stress from time to time, right? Would you like to get better and more resilient at handling stress? Then follow my guidance here in this workshop. Make better decisions is a great outcome from knowing and living your purpose. Be great at driving change. It can be in your company, your job, can be at your basketball team, it can be at home. In general, you get to make better decisions and be greater at driving change when you live a purposeful life. And the fourth but not least benefit is a healthy outlook on life in general. A healthy outlook, that means you're being more positive, optimistic about things in life, will in general help you to accomplish all the other attributes that I mentioned here. Before we get to an exercise in a few minutes' time, where you get to create your first massive transformative purpose, let me just introduce my way of looking at a personal MTP, how I understand it. Now, personal massive transformative purpose is something that belongs in the middle of this chart here. It's the blue circle you see in the middle. It connects you and your inner world to everybody else in the outer world. If we first quickly describe your inner world, what do I mean by that? Inner world means it's our feelings, it's our thoughts, it's our mood, it's our personal interests, it's everything that uniquely yours that happens inside of you. We may or may not know, you may or may not tell us, you may or may not know yourself very well, but this is your inner world. Your inner world obviously is incredibly important that you understand it and gradually get to understand it even better, because there's so much potential and opportunity and value that the world around you needs. For example, that you know how you can contribute to your loved ones, to your colleagues, to your clients, to everybody else. That you understand your feelings, your thoughts, your moods, your personal interests. This is incredibly important. Everybody else, which is not you, is what I refer to as the outer world. That's on the right-hand side of the chart here. That's other people, everybody else on this planet, 8 billion of us. Things, all the material things that you see around you, the markets, circumstances, things that are happening around you, all of that takes place in the outer world. You can impact that more than you think, but you cannot impact or change everything, and that's okay. What you can absolutely choose and decide for yourself is, what is your personal massive transformative purpose? And you'll get to create yours starting in just a moment. And this is what connects your inner world to the outer world. This will be your North Star. Will be how you can introduce yourself to others so they understand what is really important to you and how you can work together. They will also immediately understand if you're just not compatible with each other, that they should probably just move on because they don't see shared mutual interests with you. That's fine. You find that anyway to happen from time to time. Now it's just giving everybody more clarity much faster. People will know whether they get interested in talking with you about what your purpose is, or they find out, hey, there's probably not much for you guys to talk about, and they can move on and you can move on. And that's great. Your personal massive transformative purpose is not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine, but it is your cup of tea, and it does resonate with other people than you. This will be your North Star that other people can see as well. They can find you because of your massive transformative purpose, so you don't have to find them. So before I move on, I have a question for you. And I'd like to find something to write on, whether you do digitally on paper, I don't care. You could draw, you could pencil. If you pencil on your wallpaper, please ask your family members or your colleagues, the outer world around you, for permission. But otherwise, use a notebook, digital or paper, both are good. The question is, what would you say that your personal purpose is in life? You don't need to follow any particular format here. Just write down what comes to mind. What is your personal purpose in life? You can pause the video now and come back to it once you have put down your thoughts. Don't think too much. Don't overthink this. Very often, some of the first words that comes to mind are the most important ones. So make sure to write them down and come back to them later. I've been doing this workshop many times over, and I want to share a few words that came to mind for other human beings that went through the exercise that we'll be doing in a moment. These are examples from back in 2018, and this is just a word cloud. So that means the word cloud shows the most common words in the massive transformative purpose statements created by all the different participants in this workshop, right? So a lot of people, when they write down their MTP, a lot of participants in this program use words like people, learn, life, happy, peace, future, enjoy, happiness, achieve, change, meaningful, learning. These are common for many. Let's look at some other examples. This is a workshop I did in May 2019. In this particular workshop, but the participants felt strongly about people, about purpose, experience, world, human, but also here art and digital and technology. So I guess this could have been a tech company or an IT company or something similar that went through this workshop. But the word people stood out strongly again. People do care about people. It's not all about technology. Now, let's get into it. Now is your turn. I'm here to guide you step by step to create your very first version of your personal MTP. Let me give you a few examples. I mentioned that Exponential Organizations, the book, is really describing how organizations work when they are exponential, rather than for individual human beings. So let me give you a few examples of organizations and their MTPs. Now, if you look at St. Margaret's, this is the school where girls who want to change the world become women who do. Isn't that remarkable? The school where girls who want to change the world become some woman or become women who do, right? That's a purposeful way to identify themselves. It shows the impact they want to make. The impact is truly to empower and support the women that wants to change the world. Go to this school if that's you. Now, there are many. I just want to give one that's not on the screen here. One of my favorites is SOS Children Villages. SOS Children Villages. They are really around the world. They help children who do not have a family and a home to get a family and a home. So they can have a safe place to rest. They have a mother. They're being given a mother. They're being given a family. They become part of a community that's safe, that is there to help them and support them as they grow up, and they get to school. SOS Children Villages create schools as part of these communities. They are really around the world. The massive transformative purpose of SOS Children Villages is a loving home for every child. A loving home for every child. So this is the ultimate goal, is the ultimate vision of a perfect world. Once a very important problem has been solved, which is many children do not have a loving family today for a number of reasons. But once this problem has been solved, which may never happen, unfortunately, but nevertheless, the massive transformative purpose should be the ultimate vision and goal, the purposeful end of the world once the problem here has been solved. And here is about giving every child a loving home, whether it's technically feasible, possible, or not. Your MTP should also be the ultimate state of the world once you have solved the problem you're really passionate about solving. We'll get to that a little bit later. So we're talking about that a massive transformative purpose is the higher aspirational purpose of the organization that's capturing the hearts and minds of both inside and outside the organization. Let's talk a little bit about a case, a business that everybody knows. Everybody has an idea about Kodak, unless you're maybe less than 10 years old or 15. So what business was Kodak in? It's a question that is usually discussed when this particular case is analyzed. What business was Kodak in? What problem space are you in as a company? This is important. It's an important question also to ask about your own business or your own organization that you're part of when you create an MTP for your business, for your organization. Because this tells other people around you and other organizations, such as clients and providers, vendors, suppliers, future employees, and your current employees, tells everybody about the value that you want to see being brought into the world. You're not limiting yourself to legacy technologies and business models. If you do, If you do limit yourself to different technologies, different business models, you will be out of business at some point. Due to the rapid advancements of technologies and the change of business model that work here in the age of artificial intelligence. Many would say, and I hear the answer often when I ask the question about Kodak, that they do or did chemical processing, creating films, creating cameras, all of those things, right? So that it's a technology company in a way. Now, as you know, Kodak declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy back in 2013. So whatever they did very successfully for many years until they didn't anymore. Now, in reality, Kodak was in the business of capturing memories. That changes totally how you perceive a company. Is it technology company that masters chemical processing, film processing, and similar? Or is it an organization that helps you capture all your fond memories, right? If you're in the business of capturing memories, you shouldn't mind whether you capture this on film or digitally. But for Kodak, it meant a big deal, and they were afraid of cannibalizing their core business, the cash cow, chemical processing, the film processing, all of that. So they wanted to avoid the digital revolution if they could, even they had the chance to and they actually created the first digital camera. But they were in the business of capturing memories. They should have jumped at this opportunity because it would give everybody on the planet access to close to free additional snapshots, right? Today we shoot hundreds of thousands of photos. Just if you want to film this beautiful bird, just take 100 photos of it. Doesn't cost anything extra, and you may sort it out later, find the best of the 100 photos. That's easily affordable today. Why didn't Kodak stay in the business of capturing memories? So what business are you in? What problem space are you working in? This matters. When you want to build a ship, do not begin by gathering wood, cutting boards, and distributing work, but rather awaken within the men the desire for the vast and endless sea. It's a quote by the pilot and author of the children's book, The Little Prince. And in other words here, use your massive transformative purpose to attract the right shipbuilders. Attract the shipbuilders that want to get to the sea, not the ones that are waiting to take orders, that are not driven to go to sea, right? There's a massive difference here. A lot of great books, YouTube videos, podcasts, other resources are everywhere about purpose, finding your why. Great books by Simon Sinek on this topic. The late Sir Ken Robinson wrote a brilliant book that is really good for younger generations, but works for all of us, called Finding Your Element. So by all means, dive into these books when you feel that it's time to explore your why. Why are you here? So set the time, some time to find inspiration in some of this material, and then find and set aside time also to reflect on the inspiration that you come across, also in the activity, the exercise that we are about to begin. Let's get started. It's time to pull up your notebook, whether digital or paper version, and follow the steps that I'll take you through. Don't worry if you're not getting to the perfect MTP today in this session. It takes iterations, sometimes many iterations, and sometimes over a long period of time to really feel connected, really feel that you nailed a personal massive transformative purpose that deeply resonates with you. It takes iterations. But follow the steps here to get started and to get to the first version of your personal MTP. As we go through the steps, there will be 3 major steps, and then there will be the conclusion where you will pick your personal MTP. You can pause this video and think longer about the questions I'll ask you. But it's really important that you're honest to yourself and you write down what first comes to mind when I ask you a question, and keep writing down until you have emptied your head for thoughts and ideas. It's also important when I ask you to make a decision that you make a decision. Later, you will reflect and you can come back and you can change every decision you make in this exercise. No worries. And nobody will know. But even when they do know, it's great to share. After you have your first version of your MTP, share it with others and observe the feedback and the responses you get. Let's get started. There are three key questions here, steps. Let's get to step number 1, which is to identify the who. Who do you want to impact? There are some supporting questions as well. What kind of communities do you want to create a lasting positive impact for? I use the word communities because I'm a community builder. But this could be, you see this more as society in general, can be who in your city, who in your country, who on your continent, in your region of the world do you want to create a lasting positive impact for? It's just as well a valid way of framing the question. Who do you want to create a lasting positive impact for? Write it down now. There can be several, that's fine. Keep writing. What kind of communities, who are the people that you want to create a lasting positive impact for? Doesn't need to be a complex answer. Just write down whatever simple answers come out. If they're complex, write that as well. I'll just give you a few examples of how you could answer, but don't use these answers unless they truly are your answers. But an example could be, I'm here to create a positive impact, a lasting positive impact for children from the age of, let's say, 6 to 12 years old with a certain disorder. It's a topic that I personally am deeply connected to, which is why I'm sharing it as an example. But yours may be a completely different answer, and that's important for you to stick to what your answer is. It could also be that you want to create a lasting positive impact for top business executives in the life science industry, for example. So these are 2 very different examples. Again, the question for you now is, who do you want to impact? I'm now ready to move to the second part. If you're not quite ready, you pause the video and resume again when you're ready. But make sure that you truly have written down the most important people, or groups of people, communities, organizations, whatever it may be, that you want to create a lasting positive impact for. Step number 2, the what. What are the top 3 problems that you're most excited about, or that you're most focused on solving? Or maybe you should be more focused on solving if you're not already working on them. So this time, you need to limit yourself to 3 problems. 3. Not 2, not 4, but 3. And it's going to be the top 3 problems that you find most important, that you're most excited about, most passionate about solving. What are the top 3 problems that you should and others should be working on solving? If not all 3, later you will get to choose just one of them. But now write down the 3 problems that you find most important on focusing on solving. You can, as always, pause this video to think about this. This one can take a little bit of time. Make sure to take the time you need. You can start creating a list of 10 problems. If you have 10 problems in your mind right now, write them down and then prioritize them. So you are left with the top 3 problems. If you end up only having 1 or 2 that you really care about, I suggest you continue this exercise with that, but really spend a bit of time to try to get to 3 problems that you are excited about solving. And there should be plenty to choose from, right? All right, we have now gotten to the point, step 3, where we are now ready to score your problems. So I want you to find a blank page in your notebook, create 3 columns next to each other. I'll show you what I think they should look like. And I think they should look like something like this. You will need 3 columns next to each other. The top row will be the problem statements. You had 3 of them from the exercise we just did. So the first problem statement, that the most important one maybe, or at least one of them from the top 3 problems, goes into row 1 in the first column. Then another of the 3 top problems go into the second column, and the third problem statement goes into the last column on the right. You're going to have need some space below for additional rows, and these rows are shown here. You should have about 7 blank rows, so prepare space for that. And step by step, we'll go through each row, and you will fill in the answers to the question I ask for each row. You'll fill in your answer to each of the problem statements that you have here. All right. Let's begin with row 1, which is just below the problem statement. I would like you now to answer the following question, answered for each of the 3 problems that you now have. If at the end of your life you had made a significant dent in this area, how proud would you feel? How proud would you feel if at the end of your life you had made a significant dent, a progress in this area? I ask you to use the 1 to 10 rating scale. If you use a 1, it means, hey, this will be a very small difference, that, or I will not be proud if at the other end of the scale, if you use a 10 as the answer here, that means that you will feel very proud. You would have made a very significant difference, right? So rate your answer here, or use the rating as your answer from 1 to 10. It can be a 5 or 6 if you're somewhere in the middle. If at the end of your life you had made a significant dent in this area, how proud would you feel? So I'll just give you, just to show as an example what it looks like, and you would have your numbers. I just give an example here. For example, my problem statement A, I'll answer 4. I will feel that my answer is a 4, so it's kind of below average in terms of how proud I would feel. And in problem statement B, I would feel much more proud. So I rate that as an 8, close to the 10, which would be the ultimate. Wow, I would feel extremely out of this world proud. Okay. Problem statement C, in this example, I gave it a 7, which means it also means a great deal to me. So you would put your number into each of the column in the first row here to answer the question. If at the end of your life you had made a significant dent in this area, how proud would you feel from 1 to 10? Okay, so this was the first question. I have more questions for you. Let's take the next one, and you will rate this again from 1 to 10 for each of the columns and put that in the next row. But here comes the question. Given the resources you have today, what level of impact could you make in the next 3 years if you work on solving this problem? This again should be a number from 1 to 10. Given the resources you have today, what level of impact could you make in the next 3 years if you work on solving this problem? So if you work on solving problem A in the first column, what's the level of impact? If you believe you could make a very limited, small, low level of impact, it's a low number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you believe that you could make a high level of impact, it's a high number. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And you again score this from 1 to 10 for each of the 3 problem statements. Again, just to show you how to fill in the column. In this example, the problem A in my case would be a 10. Wow, I would really feel that I could make a huge level of impact happen in the next 3 years if I work on this. So it's a 10. Problem B is a 9. Problem C is a 6. So I don't feel as certain that I could create a high level of impact in problem C in this example. What about you? All right. So here it's really important not to think too long, but to use your gut instinct to make a call. What's the number here? Let's get to question number 3. Again, score it for each of the 3 problems. Given the resources you expect to have in 10 years' time from now, given the resources you expect to have in 10 years from now, what level of impact could you make in a 3-year period starting today? So if you believe the impact might be small, quite limited in the next 3 years, with the resources you expect to have in 10 years, give it a low number. If you, on the other hand, believe that you could make a huge level of impact in the coming 3 years, with the resources you expect to have in 10 years, give it a high number. Okay, you got the drill now. All right, ready to jump into the next question. How well do you understand this problem? If you give it a low number, it means you feel you don't understand it very well, this problem. If you give it a high number, it means that you feel you have pretty good command of this problem. You have a deep understanding of it. So give it a number for each of the problem statements. How well do you understand this problem? Next question. How emotionally charged, or you could call it excited, are you about this problem? So how much emotionally charged or excited do you get when you deal with this problem? It can be a hard, tough, critical problem. So exciting is not, it's always a permission for you to work on it. But don't feel bad if it's a really, tragic, terrible problem. The word excited doesn't mean that, you're not allowed to work on it. You are highly encouraged to work on it. It means that this matters so much that you put your emotions into this. This problem will trigger some emotions in you, and this is important. But give it this a number again, a score for each of the 3 problems. So if this number turns out to be a low number, again, means you're not super emotionally charged about this problem. If you end up with a high number, means that you are pretty excited, and this problem space do awaken something in you. There's maybe a calling for you in this. Put your numbers in the table. And now we're getting to the last question. Will this problem get solved with you, with your contribution? Then give it a high score, or without you involved, give it a low score. So here you are really considering what's your role in this. If you can really be a big contributing factor to solving this problem, give it a high score. If you can see that this is really getting solved somehow very soon by someone else, somehow else, and you're not probably going to play a big role in it, then give it a low score. Will the problem get solved with you, high score, or without you, low score? All right, so now it's time to add the numbers. So time for you in each column to calculate the sum of each column and write the sum of the column at the bottom, on the bottom rule. In my example here, in problem statement A, I have some numbers, 4, 10, and then, some that I'm not trying to make up. You would have your numbers in your column, so please add them together and write the sum at the bottom. Same for problem statement B and problem statement C. Once you have done that, and you can pause the video while doing the math and come back here. Once you have added the numbers, the highest score wins for now. So if the difference between 2 problems is just 1 or 2 points, you still have a winner. The highest score wins. But we're not done quite yet. because number wise, you probably have a winner now. But it's also important to reflect and to listen to your intuition. There's no calculation coming here in this exercise related to intuition. It's your gut feeling, your gut instinct. Does this winning problem intuitively feel right for you? Could you see yourself working on this problem in the next many years to come? Could be 5, 10, or even more years to come, easily. Maybe the rest of your life. So is this right? Does this feel right? Here, you may find out that actually it's not the problem with the highest numbers that wins necessarily. Maybe you see a clear winner somewhere else. Maybe you don't feel any of these three problem statements are intuitively winners for you. It's not what you are meant to do. If that's the case, I recommend to go back and do step 1, 2, and 3 again, because this is an iterative process. You are highly recommended to do it again. You can even do it again if you feel pretty convinced that you have a winner and you feel that this does feel right. But you may want to improve or refine it or think more about it. You can do this exercise as many times as you like until you have a winner that stands out both in terms of numbers, but more importantly, your intuition. If you feel that your winner in the table is also the one that feels right to you intuitively, then congratulations. Now you're ready to begin writing your personal massive transformative purpose, the first version of it at least. Now, let's move to step number 5, drafting your massive transformative purpose. You want to continue based on the winner, the problem statement that you just found, identified, and celebrated. You may have to go through the process again, and that's fine. But once you get to a winner, a winning problem, that is the basis on which you're now drafting your massive transformative purpose. You will know who are you trying to make an impact for, and what's the problem you're solving for them. Now, when you draft your massive transformative purpose statement, write as many versions as you like. Put them all down. You may want to move words around, create different sentences that use more or less the same words, maybe create different MTPs that truly use different words. There's no right or wrong here. Actually write down everything that comes to mind when it comes to massive transformative purposes. Now, I want to share with you 5 guiding principles. What makes a good massive transformative purpose? So let's look at those 5 principles, and I recommend that you apply them when you are drafting your own massive transformative purpose statements. So let's look at the 5 principles. Principle number 1 is the change you want to see in the future. It's not what's possible today, but it's what you will make possible for the future, or you see others are making it possible. So this purpose can really play out full and leave this lasting positive impact on the world that you would like to see. So it's again, it's not about a product or service or technology. It's not a company mission statement. It's not a company vision statement. It's the change you want to see in the future described in a single sentence. Just like a loving home for every child. Principle number 2, it's uniquely yours. Don't try to search for cool slogans, marketing slogans, or the likes. You need here to look inside of yourself, in your inner world. Look for something that you feel is uniquely yours, something that connects with you deeply. Principle number 3, it's a massive transformative purpose is audaciously big and aspirational. Don't limit yourself. Never think, hey, I could do this in 3 years, or I could never do this. Either would be wrong. Allow yourself to think at this out of this world positive impact that can be made on this planet. Whatever your problem space is, let it happen, right? Imagine it happening and write it down. Everything is allowed here. Be audacious, go really big, and go aspirational. Principle number 4 is transformative, and it can therefore cause significant transformation to a group of people, a community of people, to a whole industry, to the whole planet, maybe to a whole galaxy. Some people that we know are working on that. So make sure to go for something transformative. If you want to change the world for the better, this would involve some level of transformation. The 5th principle is to be purposeful. Forget about business cases when it comes to MTPs. Forget about business plans, strategies. Forget about convincing investors. Forget about convincing family. Be purposeful in your definition. There, that you see the clear why behind the work being done, maybe already, or that needs to be done in the future. It's something that unites and inspires action because it's purposeful. These are the 5 principles. So keep these in mind while you're drafting your personal massive transformative purpose. And now is the time. So pause the video, take the time you need, and keep writing. When you come back to this video, it's time to test these massive transformative purposes. You may have 1 or 2 or 3 favorites on your notebook, and that's fine. But every one of them that means something to you, that think has something to it that you want to continue working with, go out and test it. Go out and test your massive transformative purpose on people you do not know already. I'm sure your mother will love your MTP, so don't let her give you feedback. Others may be too rough on you by default. I don't know. But it's actually better, for example, next time you will anyway be introducing yourself to somebody you don't know. Try out your massive transformative purpose. Maybe you have several you need to test. Then pick one of them and use to introduce yourself. What you're going to experience is you're going to get some kind of response. So instead of saying, I'm Lars, I'm an electronics engineer by education, which is true, or I could say, I'm Lars, I'm a transformation coach by trade, by decision, which is also true, or I'm Lars, I'm Danish, mainly by accidental birth, which is also true. Instead of doing that, I would go out and say, I'm Lars, I'm about resourcefulness for breakthroughs in everyone. And then watch them. And they say, resourcefulness, what do you mean by that? And when people ask questions, that's a really good indicator. And it's a great opportunity for you to talk a little bit about resourcefulness, talk a little bit about breakthroughs. And that's what I like to talk about. your MTP would be triggering people to ask you questions about something you want to talk about, something you want to tell them more about. And you will get the chance the moment you introduce yourself with your personal MTP. What's important here is this is going to be a test. And the more you test this, the better. And you test it by introducing yourself and then listen for the responses you get. Are people immediately leaving the room, turning their backs to you, or are they understanding it? Do they understand it? Do they get curious? Do they get excited? What's the response? And when you tell them more, are they still interested? So now when you start to have some data from your experiments, from your test, you would have asked, let's say 10 or talked to set 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 people maybe. So now you're starting to be able to analyze the responses. And you're going to now think about, so who resonates with this? Who generally gives me a positive, curious reaction? Who's walking away, not interested the least? You start to understand who resonates with your MTP. There's also your practice makes perfect aspect, which is important. So the more you do this, the better you get at pitching it. And that would probably give you a better response, maybe more positive response, just because you're getting better. But make sure to use the MTP and pitch it to a lot of people in the coming weeks. Do it now while you're working on this, and use the feedback to iterate on your massive transformative purpose. Keep doing that until you feel, wow, now it's starting to resonate with me. I intuitively feel this is the right problem. These are the right group of people that I care about, where I want to leave a lasting positive impact and change. So now it's about there. Okay? Keep working on this. And when you get to this point, congratulations. You can always continue to evolve, and you will evolve your personal MTP. But now you're starting to have an MTP that serves as your North Star. And North Star is just like you know it on the night sky. The North Star is really helpful for guidance when you feel lost on whatever path you're taking or have been trying to take. The world and life happens, and you get turned around and you're getting knocked over and need to get up and find direction again in life, in business, in your studies, whatever you're up to. And connecting again with your North Star, your MCP, helps you to find the way back to the path that you're on, that you identified as purposeful, meaningful, where you can contribute and you know who you want to work with. This is really going to help you a lot. Also, when you make decisions, you need to make big decisions, hard decisions. Ask yourself, how is this aligned with my MTP? Or how is my MTP aligned to this? Can be a new project. Maybe you're being asked, is this project something for you? Maybe it's a new job. Maybe the question is, what's the education I should apply to join? There are many difficult questions that we need to find answers to. And these questions are coming faster and faster at us. And we need a tool to help in this decision making. Can also be, I want to start my own company. Who would be the right co-founder? They could do this exercise as well. See how aligned are you? Are you working on the same problem? Are you equally passionate about it? Are you passionate about working with the same general kind of group of people, etc.? So there are many ways you can benefit from having a personal massive transformative purpose. You can always come back to this particular video, but you can also continue when you are ready. There's so much more. You could begin your journey on the website educate4.life/personalmtp. You will find this exact workshop, the recording of it on this page, but there's a much longer ongoing program called Personalized Pathways that you can check out and possibly join if you see that this is leading you in a generally good direction and this is being helpful, then have a look at it. And this is equally important whether you do it to improve things in your personal life or in your business life, your studies, whatever it may be. This is part of what I see as our human operating system. I certainly hope you will find it to be part of yours, as I found it to be part of mine. I wish you all the best with your personal massive transformative purpose, and do not hesitate to reach out and tell me what you got out of this workshop. The most important 2 days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. I hope that you found out why today if you didn't know already.